Have you ever heard about competency-based language teaching? Well, let me show you an example. The professor teaches you how to make a medical appointment, or the ability to read and understand telephone numbers, or how to express your opinions politely.
Another example could be when you learn how to order in a restaurant. Your teacher gives you vocab, gives you phrases, also teaches you how to make questions. This way, you can actually use what you learned in class in your daily basis.
Competency-based language teaching focuses on what learners are expected to do with the language. Competencies are practical applications of language in contexts. Students must demonstrate that they are able to use language to complete a real-world task.
As our first characteristic, this method measures the student's learning rather than the student's time. Well, this basically means that the instructions given by the teacher are not time-based. This is actually focused more on the progress of the individual rather than their own time. This means that it doesn't really matter how long you take to understand the theme. The only important thing here is for you to understand it. It doesn't matter how many time it takes you. Also, harness of the power of technology for teaching and learning. This means that the computer can actually give us a lot of ability to individualize learning for each student. So everyone has like their own space. Define competences and develop valid, reliable assessments. A focus on successful functioning in society, which means that the language is taught in order to prepare the students for different demands of the world. Task or performance-centered orientation. The focus is on what the students can do with the language and certain behaviors instead of the knowledge of the language. What can you do with what you learn more than teach you a lot than that you're not going to be able to use. Modularized instructions emphasizes that the competencies which are taught have to be systematically separated into manageable parts so that both the teacher and the student can handle the context and realize their progress. Outcomes that are made explicit a priori. Outcomes are public knowledge known and agreed upon by both learner and teacher. This is that the students clearly know what behaviors and skills are expected for them. Demonstrated mastery of performance objectives. The assessment is based on the student's performance on specific behaviors instead of traditional paper and pencil tests. The pillars of this method include activate learning, real-world application, long-term retention, and competency based on assessments.
Theory of language. Cblt is based on a functional and interactional perspective of nature of language. It seeks to teach language in relation to the social context in which it is used. Language form can be inferred from language functions. Theory of learning. Language learning is skill-based. Successful language performance depends upon practice, and practice is normally accompanied by feedback. Objectives. Cblt courses are developed as a response to perceived learners' specific goals and needs. Syllabus. Cblt is designed not around the notion of subject knowledge, but around the notion of competency. The focus is on how the students can use the language instead of their knowledge about the language. Learning activities are real-world tasks which may be related to any domain of life. In Cblt, students learn how to use the language in authentic situations likely to be encouraged outside the classroom. Cblt does not apply any particular methodology of teaching, so the teacher is free to choose any set of activities or make use of any methods.